Hello? By show of hands, how many people here like rock music? All right? What about funk music? Or country, even? Would it be fair to say that music defines a person as an individual? Whether you agree or not, I don't really care. I just thought that was something cool to say. Anyways, let's get on with it. I like to think of music as if it was a tree. And that tree is made up of roots. And those roots are all the different genres like funk, music, pop, hip-hop, and so much more. And those roots turn into a trunk and then forming the tree that is music. And a lot of this happens through sampling. Now, sampling basically consists of taking brief segments of an already existing song or a track and using that to create something new. So in other words, taking a part from something that already exists to create something different. Now, because sampling consists of this, a huge controversy started when it was first used. Artists started sampling without taking permission from the original owners or creators of the track. And people felt as if that was cheating. So a law was created that allowed artists to legally sample by getting the permission from the owners, so getting copyright permissions. But the negative connotation of sampling still remained. Now that was because traditionalists felt that sampling was still cheating because sampling consisted of electronically using and taking from previously created tracks to make something new, rather than using traditional instruments like a guitar or a drum or being part of a band or using vocals. Now, because of this, sampling was viewed as something negative for a long time. And people felt it required no skill because it was all digital instead of, with instruments. But I like to think as if it was different. I feel like sampling actually requires a lot of skill, and I'll prove it to you. A lot of the music that people listen to today consists of sampling. Let's look at Timmy Thomas's Why Can't We Live Together that was made in 1979. Now, this song was a funk song, and it sounds something like this. Well, exactly like this, because this is a song. All right? Now, an artist took this song, and then all he did was take that part and then make it faster. And that sounds like this. All right? And then that same artist just added lyrics to it. And this is that.
You used to call me on my cell phone. Late night when you.
So Drake made this song in 2016 by taking a sample from Timmy Thomas's Why Can't We Live Together, right? So that was a funk song that turned into a hip-hop song. Do a lot of people here consider Drake as one of the greatest or, a very good artist here? Yeah? A lot of people listen to Drake. Is he creative? Yeah. I'll prove it to you one more time, all right? I'll take another song. Another funk song. Let's look at Lab Sifri's I Got The that was made in 1975, and it sounds like this. All right? Now, Lab Sifri's song was a funk song again. But then that song was sampled and used by another very, very famous rapper. Some people might have already recognized it. And he has another name, and it goes like this.
Hi, my name is. What? My name is. My name is.
Slim Shady, right? Eminem. 1999, Eminem created the song My Name Is. And he sampled Lab Sifri's I Got The. So we have one song that was a funk song turning into an R&B song, and another funk song turning into a hip-hop song. Again, interconnecting those roots, creating the tree of music. But it doesn't stop there. Sampling can have a rippling effect. One song can get transformed into different genres over the time. over time. And I'd like to look at one song, and that song is called Apache. Now, the Shadows created the song Apache in 1960, and they were a rock band. Rock at that time consisted of artists like Dean Martin, Elvis Presley, and bands like the Rolling Stones. So rock was very drum heavy and percussion heavy, and people rocked to rock music all night in concerts. But when the Shadows came out with Apache, that changed completely. They changed rock forever. They turned rock mellow. They turned it slower. And it sounds like this. So Apache was established as a very famous song at that time. It turned viral. It entered the mainstream like this. So a lot of people liked Apache, but no one really listened to it 13 years later, right? It wasn't fun anymore. No one listens to Apache now in clubs. But that song lived a whole legacy throughout the years. 13 years later, incredible Bongo band, a funk band, created a cover of Apache and turned that rock song into a funk song. So in 1970s, funk ruled the mainstream popular music area, right? And funk music was something that was completely different to rock. People liked to listen to it. They didn't like to listen to rock anymore. So Incredible Bongo Band took a song that was already famous, that already worked in the past, and turned it into rock to make it relevant again. And it sounds like this. So, Incredible Bongo Band turned that whole song into funk. One song coming from 1960, turning into funk 10 years later. 13 years later, transforming into another genre. But it didn't stop there. No, it didn't. That song turned into something else almost 10 years later. It turned into a hip-hop song. Grandmaster Flash is known as one of the founding fathers of hip-hop, and he remixed this song and actually sampled it. Remember, Incredible Bongo Band they covered Apache, which means that they used instruments to recreate the song. Grandmaster Flash actually sampled, and hip-hop was the event that actually started sampling, because DJs or disc jockeys started cutting and pasting tracks using turntables to digitally sample music. So Grandmaster Flash made a remix of Incredible Bongo Band's cover of Apache in 1981, and it sounds like this. Alright, so Grandmaster Flash sampled the Incredible Bongo Band's funk version of Apache in 1981. 20 years, over 2 decades later, the song had transformed into something completely different. The song lived a legacy. But it didn't stop there. In that same year, another band came and turned that song into something else. So far, in those 20 years, Apache was just an instrumental song. It had no lyrics behind it. It had no words behind it. It had no meaning behind it. It was just music. There were no words to put over it. But when Sugar Hill Gang came along, they added lyrics to the song. In that same year, in 1981, Sugar Hill Gang was a very established, was a highly established band, and they are known as one of the first bands of the genre of hip-hop. And they added lyrics to Apache, and it sounds like this. So, Sugar Hill Gang turned Apache into a song with lyrics. They changed it in the same year. So one song, going from rock, right, in 1961, slow, mellow rock, turning into a funk song in the 1970s, and then hip-hop in 1980s, and then, in the same year, hip-hop with lyrics. But it just doesn't stop there. There are remixes of Apache happening till this day. And I'd like to see what I could do to Apache and sample it and see if I can turn it into something electronic or EDM or electro even. So let's see what we can do in 2018 to turn the original sample of Apache from 1960 into something more relevant today. So all I did was get that sample, that original 1960 sample. If you don't remember what that is, well, I have another sample for you. Sounds like this. All right, so then I took that, and then I just created a drum loop or a percussion to add to it. And that thing, that loop, sounds like this. Yeah, sounds good. But it's not together. It sounds kind of weird. It's alone, right? All you got to do is put it together, and then you turn it into something different. Cool, right? Yeah? Yeah. All right. So, I turned this song into something completely different, but just adding kicks to it. So what if I add a different kind of kick to it, right? What if I want a different pace? So I took the same sample, the same Apache sample. I didn't speed it up. I didn't slow it down. I kept it the same. Okay, this one, I kept it the same. I didn't change it. And then I found a slower drum. Maybe this one sounds better. All right? Then, just like I did before, put it on top of each other. Sounds way more different. Right? I was able to change the whole sound by just using a different drum loop. But what if it doesn't stop there? What if I wanted to sample it in a different way? What if I wanted to take parts of that sample of Apache and rearrange them in different ways to turn it into something completely different? So I took one strum from that Apache, another one strum sounds like this. All right? Which is from this part, if you don't remember. All right, and then I took another one, because why not? That sounds like this. All right, which is from. Okay, so two strums, two pieces. Okay, both of them. And then I put them in an arrangement that just felt right. It sounds really bad, to be honest, right? Yeah, it's horrible. But the magic happens when you add the drums, the percussions, the beat. So I found this drum loop, this magical drum loop. Yeah, this sounds good. And then, just like I did before, added them on top of each other. And it sounds not like Apache. Sounds different. Sounds like another song. All that just from one sample of a song made in 1960 turned into a completely different song. I felt like a Superman or like a superhero. It doesn't stop there. I don't have any music knowledge. This is just from like experience of one program that I used to play with for the past 6 years, doing nothing with it. I just put it in different arrangements. But artists spend weeks and years trying to perfect the craft of sampling so that they could get inspired, get influenced by songs that they grew up with and turn that into different songs. Turn that recreating, reinventing music. Why should sampling be considered illegal? Why should it be considered as cheating? Why should it be given a negative connotation? I'd like to look at the definition of music, right? Music consists of instrumental vocal sounds that create a harmony, beauty of emotion, an expression of emotion, right? It doesn't say that music has to consist of bands. It doesn't say that music has to consist of instruments or that music has to consist of vocals. It doesn't say that it has to, does it? No. If sampling consists of sounds, and those recorded sounds being used as instruments to create an expression of emotion, then why should it be considered illegal or viewed in a negative way? It allows songs to live a legacy. It allows songs to get recreated. You cannot create without an inspiration. It's impossible. You can't just, poof, I made something. Something happened before to create that thing, right? And I'd like to urge everyone here today to explore music the way I have. And maybe search for songs and find out how they were inspired by previous ones, because I guarantee you that any song that you hear today has had influence from a song that existed in the past. Thank you.